All right, another week down, 2-2 on the week. Going back to last Tuesday, I thought Seaver Sheets looked really good. Now we have a decision to make on, how we want to use him on the weekend. I think his stuff is looking really, really good. I think he's confident. He's showing multiple pitches, but I just really like the life on the fastball. And so, we're going to meet as a staff today and kind of see what we need to do relative to his outing tomorrow. Whether he starts or we treat it like a bullpen, whatever it may be. But I think it's certainly we're in a position now where we can make a decision on possibly starting him on the weekends. And so we'll make that decision later today. It's good to go on the road in Natchitoches and win that game. I liked the hit and run late there with Mosey and just figuring out a way to win a game late when you're just not particularly swinging hot bats. And so a good road win there. And then on the weekend, I thought Broadnax Friday was really, really sharp and really dominant those first three innings, and just kind of snowballed there. We jump up 2-0, and then we just give up the big inning, And so what I want this team to learn, and Broadnax especially, after that 3-run homer, just keep it right there. Keep it right there. It doesn't have to compound, because you saw it later in the series. Roark gives up the three-run homer on Saturday and just kind of like stopped it. He stopped it right there, and so that's something we can certainly learn from. I really like Broadnax going on Friday nights. He's our guy, and he'll certainly learn from it, and he'll be ready to go this weekend. And so Saturday's game, thought Corley looked really good, and he made some pitches there that I haven't seen this year. Like when he's slide stepping there out of the stretch, he's really tough to hit, and so thought he pitched really well. Gave us a chance to win, and just we had to start creating some offense with the hit and runs and the double steals, and just try to apply some pressure and put it on the JMU dugout. And I thought our guys did that. Good bounce back win, challenged them after the game on Friday, and they responded. And then just for whatever reason on Sunday yesterday, we didn't play clean baseball. I just wouldn't have thought the team wouldn't be ready to play, and maybe they were. We just we didn't execute. A free pass in the first inning turns into a run. Kind of feel it get on our heels a little bit, and that's just something we got to stop. You get behind, just go play our game, because I thought there was some a close game and getting guys on first. I really thought we could expose some stuff on their defense. Being able to run and all that. We didn't get to do any of that just because we didn't we weren't getting guys to first base to lead off the inning. And we weren't stringing quality ABs together, and that's just a recipe for inconsistent baseball, and that's what it's been since the UL Lafayette series. It's just inconsistent baseball, and when you're doing that, you're going to drop 2 out of 3. And so disappointing, but there's no time for really disappointment. We got to be ready to go. Play a good Louisiana Tech team tomorrow. They're feeling good, and they'll come here. We'll figure out the weather and all that, but we need to play our game. We're just going to change some stuff. I'm going to change up a little bit how we prepare throughout the week, what we're doing practice-wise. I think the guys will respond, and they'll like it. And listen, we're disappointed right now, but we're right in the middle of this to where it can flip quickly. There's a lot of teams in our schedule or that we've played. Maybe we played them at a time where they were playing not their best baseball, and then all of a sudden you look up and they're playing great baseball, and then vice versa for some other clubs. And so that's baseball, and mature teams find a way to bust through this. And I do think I have a mature team, and I think I have a team that wants to win. I just had, I asked them yesterday after the game, you need to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm obsessed with making this program a winning program and one that's competitive that no one wants to play. If you can't answer yes to all those questions, then you're not the right guy. And so, I think they'll respond. We're looking forward to getting back out on the field, practicing hard, and a really good opponent coming up this weekend at Southern Miss. They can really pitch. They're really good in their ballpark, passionate fan base. I have a lot of respect for Oz, the head coach, and their assistants, and so it'll be a battle. But I think our guys will be up for the challenge. It's an atmosphere that makes you really want to compete and play well. A great fan base, and we're looking forward to it.
As far as at this point, I know the struggles in the month of April at the plate have been well documented, but how much of it is a mix of, you try to be tough on them, but also need to love the guys up at the same time and just keep them positive, keep them going?
Yeah, well, the game's tough. I know that, but we're not. I feel like we're just making a decision. Like we're just trying to. It's not attack. Hitting is reactive by nature. How do you make it proactive? And I think you have to get in there with the plan and just trust yourself. It's just like we're dipping our toe in some water on some things. Like yesterday, the lefty freshman, those changeups were not for strikes. And so at no point should that pitch have gotten us in between, and we're just swinging down balls that we can't do much with, and then just sped up a little bit with 2 strikes. And so we just got to get we got to get back through it, bust through the wall, and Coach Lartigue and Coach Schatz are doing a really good job with the hitters. The plan is there. The plan is there. The development is there. We just got to it's about stringing the ABs together and like just play the game, hard and fast. And we got one thing that got us this weekend was hitting into double plays. But that to me comes from bad fastball timing. If you swing at the right pitch, but you're late and your swing doesn't have time to work, that ball is going to be on the ground, and that's just where we've been off lately. Is our fastball timing. You see the homers go away. Like that's what I put my finger on is the fastball timing. And starting and giving yourself enough time for your swing to work. And it's just been hadn't been there lately, and we've got to figure it out as coaches how to get it.
Even though the offense has been struggling, you guys, Cade Dupont had a good weekend at the plate. Garrett Weethorn had a great weekend at the plate. I thought Davis Mosey too, even though he got benched Saturday, came off the bench. Then it seemed like maybe Sunday was starting to come back around a little bit. Gets 3 hits to close out the game. Do you see it maybe coming on little by little with a few guys here and there as maybe they try to come back the other way?
Yeah, little glimpses of it. I thought Mosey needed to sit for a day and just see the game a little bit. Sometimes it slows down for you, and you get back out there. You're sitting in the dugout and you're watching your teammates play, and just you kind of remind yourself like I can control the situations better, or you process it for a minute. Kudos to him, did a really good job yesterday, and it just I really like that swing up the middle. He hit that ball hard on the slider, or the ball on the 6 hole. Really, I thought he was late on a fastball 2 pitches prior on his take, and then he was late again on the heater, and then his fastball timing got good all of a sudden. They hung a slider, and he's just on time, ready to hit it. Recognizes the mistake. And so that's what we have to have is pitch-to-pitch focus, understanding where our timing is. You mentioned Garrett Weethorn. I told the team after the game, I need 10 Garrett Weethorns, the way he's playing. Sticks his nose in there. I see determination on every swing. Has he screwed up a little bit? Yes, but it was never because he wasn't playing hard and trying to make a play happen. He's 18 years old, learning this level. But he's going to give it. He takes coaching. He's all in. And that's what we need. And every other, the collection of 12 to 13 hitters that have majority of our ABs, all of them have shown flashes of greatness at some point this season. So it's about getting it back at the right time, and it's certainly capable. And seeing some flashes of it. It was good to see Dupont this weekend, like starting to hit the ball hard again and finding his way on base. I thought we had the hiccup yesterday with the first and third miscommunication, but I thought he put on a clinic on how to run the bases all weekend. And so that's an element that we have to get back to our offense and just like play offense, not so much getting the hits, just play offense. We had 12 hits yesterday and 2 runs. We didn't run the offense very well. And so, we're going to meet and get on it. We just need to, you keep saying it, but that's really what it is. You got to bust through this and find a way. And once it gets rolling and you feel it again, that pressure kind of comes off, we'll do it. This game will beat you down. And so, I think pressing harder sometimes and meeting more and all that is how you lose your club. And so we're just going to tweak preparing throughout the week, and I think it'll be good for us.
As far as the defense and 6 errors, is that just maybe a matter of snowballing yesterday, pressing a little bit, or is it a cause for greater concern?
Yeah, I really don't know. Just we weren't ready to play, really, probably. We got to eliminate the free passes in the first inning. Just got to eliminate free passes. Like if we're going to give up hits, we give up hits, okay? Then it's make them score on 3 singles in a row, not walk, error, hit, whatever it may be. The free passes they've got to go. And so, I really can't put my finger on the errors just because they were so silly. Like it was just silly stuff. And so, need to move on from that and be ready to go. Turn the page. Like there's there's no pressure defensively. Make the play, especially the routine ones. And so, I mean, we missed that the routine plays, which is uncharacteristic and needs to not happen anymore.
You mentioned at the top of the receiver, some discussions. Obviously, is there consideration of shaking that up in the rotation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to. It's been to be determined on our rotation the past couple of weekends. We just have to see. We're getting to the point now. We got to get wins when we can. But I have a lot of faith if Seaver does slide into a weekend role. He's going to give us everything he has. He's been really competitive. I like his confidence. His stuff continues to get better. And we'll shake it up a little bit this weekend more than likely. And so we'll have that probably Thursday. But a lot of guys need to go and step up. I thought Justin looked good for his a couple of outs yesterday. Robinson, Roark continues just to turn heads and be electric. He had a really good week. 3 innings at Northwestern State, and then 4 innings on Saturday. Just really good. Continues to be a force, and this can all come together for us at the right time if we just keep pressing on and and be obsessed here with the next 3 weeks. Like, this has got to be the focus of our guys in their life right now. It's a little window where they can be all in on this, and we can certainly do it. And so, looking forward to it.
With Tech tomorrow night, of course, we're under a limit in Ruston, and it feels like the scenario is completely flipped from where it was in that game in Ruston. Your team is hot; they were struggling. It seems like it's kind of the other way around a little bit right now. Just, I know it's a non-conference game. It still means a lot to this area. It means a lot to these programs. Just how do you approach a game tomorrow night to try to get ready for this weekend?
Yeah, just to play the game. Not really worry so much about the opponent. That's not disrespect to Louisiana Tech. It's just I don't feel like the opponents are beating us these last few weeks. The game of baseball is beating us. We're just making, we're just not doing what the game asks us to do in certain situations, whether it's the routine play or getting out on a bunt, runner at third, less than 2, of staying out of double plays. Like, just the game, the game is killing us, all right? And so, it'll be good. Obviously, that's just the sport. When you play a team multiple times, kind of different parts of the season, that can happen a lot. And they'll be ready to play. They're a good club, and it'll be awesome. I think the crowd will be into it, which, what a crowd on Saturday here this past weekend, man. Just full, loud, all standing up, clapping for the last out. That was special to see, and that's the magic. We're trying to get back in this ballpark, and so I just want to thank the fans. I want to thank 76 for the game day sponsor. I thought it was tremendous. It was great to see. But, tomorrow, we need to play our game. We need multiple guys to come out of the pen, execute, and just run our offense and defend our home turf. I want to make it hard again to win here. We haven't done that the past few weeks, but we can certainly get it back, and we'll be ready to go. I think it'll be a fun atmosphere. This matchup is just really good for this part of the state, and Coach Burrows and I talked about keeping a game outside of conference play next year, so there was a surprise. So we're going to try to do that, and it'll be great.
As far as Southern Miss this weekend, you played in 2 pretty good environments too, in South Alabama and down in Lafayette. How much does that maybe help prepare this team for what you're walking into at Pete this week?
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Just loud atmosphere. And, Southern Miss's fan base is so passionate. And, somehow they're in my algorithm on Twitter. And so I just see everything. It's impressive. That's an impressive little mafia there on Twitter that they have. And so, father of 3, direct all hate to Ryan Schatzberger. He'll be able to take it from their fan base. But it'll be good. We got to be ready to play. It's coming down to it. Walking into a stadium like that, sometimes get your focus right. Maybe our guys really need that on the road. And so, we've played in a lot of good atmospheres on the road, and we've been competitive in some road series. And so, it'll be big, and our guys are looking forward to it. But, it starts with a really good day of prep and practice and group work and lift today. And, being ready to go tomorrow. We'll probably do some stuff leading up to the game tomorrow just because, we have this window where we can work on some things. So you'll probably see a little practice before the game tomorrow. And, just ironing this thing out to play our best baseball these last 3 weeks.